When he walks the dog always gets tired first. This is what Kobe Bryant said about Richard Hamilton, the king of off-ball movement, and this sentence is just right for Stephen Curry. He can make the best defensive player exhausted and sent directly to the hospital after the game, and he can also make Nikola Jokic so exhausted that he sits on the bench after the game. It turns out that the most difficult player to defend in the NBA is not Kevin Durant, but Stephen Curry, whose physical talent is not impressive. For defenders, if they try their best to stop Stephen Curry from scoring, they must call an ambulance in advance. As early as the 2015 finals, in order to curb Stephen Curry's scoring, the Cavaliers assigned Matthew Dellavedova to defend Stephen Curry like a mad dog. Although this brought some pressure to Stephen Curry, who only scored 19 points in the game, Matthew Dellavedova also paid a huge price for it. He was exhausted and suffered from extreme fatigue and dehydration after the game, and was then rushed to the hospital for treatment by the team. In addition, before the start of the 2022 finals, Marcus Smart, the best defensive player of the 2021-22 season, confidently declared that he had countless ways to defend Stephen Curry. However, the cruel reality made his boast a joke. Throughout the series, Marcus Smart not only failed to limit Stephen Curry's shooting, but he had to rely on infusion to recover due to physical exhaustion. Patrick Beverley, who claimed that it was easy for him to defend LeBron James, was completely conquered by Stephen Curry. He once said that if he had to defend Stephen Curry in the game the next day, he would have to rest early at 8 o'clock in the evening, but if he was defending Chris Paul, he could even stay up late and go to the bar for a drink. Austin Reeves was even more blunt when talking about defending Stephen Curry, saying that defending Stephen Curry felt worse than death. How powerful is Stephen Curry's physical fitness? His jumping ability is comparable to Blake Griffin, his bench press is better than Kevin Durant, and his deadlift is close to LeBron James. It is easy to underestimate Stephen Curry, who is not good at dunking. First of all, Stephen Curry is 6 feet 2 inches tall and has a wingspan of 6 feet 4 inches, but his running vertical jump can reach 36 inches and his vertical jump is 35 inches, which is the same level as Russell Westbrook, Blake Griffin, John Wall, and other physical monsters. In terms of strength, Stephen Curry can bench press 185 pounds 10 times, while Kevin Durant could only do one as a rookie. Dwight Howard could only do it 7 times when he was a rookie. Stephen Curry can deadlift 400 pounds, which is equivalent to 2 of himself. Even as strong as LeBron James, his deadlift level is only 406 pounds. It is not too much to say that he is the O'Neal of guards. In terms of speed, Stephen Curry's lane agility time is 11.07 seconds, and the three-quarter sprint is 3.28 seconds. His lane agility time is 1.06 seconds faster than that of the Warriors' core player Monta Ellis, and 0.62 seconds faster than Derrick Rose. Not only that, Stephen Curry's body fat percentage of 5.6% is even 0.4% lower than that of LeBron James, who is extremely self-disciplined every day. According to ESPN statistics, Stephen Curry will run 2.5 to 3 miles in every game. According to scientific reports, when the heart rate reaches 115 beats per minute, people will gradually reduce his fine motor skills, especially the coordination of hands and eyes. But Stephen Curry can reduce his heart rate to less than 80 beats per minute in 90 seconds. This is why Stephen Curry can run around the court continuously during a 48-minute game. The players defending Curry are like catching a fleeing rabbit. In the end, they are exhausted and even need to be injected with glucose to restore their physical energy after the game. Anthony Edwards trained with Stephen Curry for 5 minutes and went out to vomit for half a minute. Anthony Edwards, the first pick in the 2020 NBA draft, was asked to follow Stephen Curry's training steps and intensity during the draft tryout. He was a rookie with unlimited physical strength. After the tryout, he said frankly that he was eye-opening and finally knew the gap between campus basketball, professional basketball and superstars. Luka Doncic and Trae Young tried to train with Stephen Curry, but eventually chose to give up because they were too tired. So how terrible is Stephen Curry's training volume? Not long ago, Stephen Curry's trainer Brandon Payne shared Stephen Curry's devilish training in a podcast. Payne said that Stephen Curry would dribble 2,000 times before each warm-up. After the warm-up, Stephen Curry would do a shooting drill called 21 points. The 21-point shooting drill means that Stephen Curry needs to score 21 points in 1 minute, regardless of three-pointers or mid-range shots, but layups only count as 1 point. If he fails to complete it, he will repeat the drill until it is completed. Payne went on to say that he specialized shooting streak training program for Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry must hit 2 consecutive three-pointers in 70 seconds at 5 different locations specified by Payne. Trae Young once trained with Stephen Curry in this program, but Trae Young was very uncomfortable at the beginning. Once when Stephen Curry went to Stanford for training, several NCAA players wanted to train with Stephen Curry. However, within 10 minutes, those college students were exhausted and even had cramps, while Stephen Curry looked fine. This can only be attributed to Stephen Curry's extraordinary cardiopulmonary function that he has trained hard for 10 years. Stephen Curry's trainer Payne uses diaphragmatic breathing to train his cardiopulmonary function. When he is too tired to breathe, trainer Payne will let him lie down and put a certain weight of sandbag under his chest to make him feel overloaded, so as to train Stephen Curry's breathing skills. According to ESPN statistics, when an athlete's heart rate reaches 115 beats per minute, the coordination between the wrist and the eyes will decrease, which will affect the player's shooting rate and shooting accuracy. But Stephen Curry can quickly reduce his heart rate from 115 beats per minute to 80 beats per minute in a short period of time. The advantage of doing this is that Stephen Curry can restore his heart rate to less than 80 during the 90-second pause. According to Stephen Curry himself, he will run for an hour or skip rope for 40 minutes every morning. After aerobics, he will immediately do three-point shooting training. In daily training, Stephen Curry will complete 300 three-point shots. Not only does he have excellent endurance, his explosive power is also amazing. Stephen Curry can complete 10 times of 185-pound bench press, which is 2 less than Dwight Howard, and the deadlift is a terrifying 400 pounds. People often neglect the huge energy bursting out of his body because of his cute appearance and relatively thin body in the NBA. What is even more neglected is his unrivaled off-ball movement. In the first round of the 2022-2023 playoffs, the Golden State Warriors faced the Sacramento Kings. Stephen Curry averaged 1.28 miles per game on defense, limiting Kings shooter Kevin Huerter to 3 of 12 three-pointers. Steve Kerr said after the game that Stephen Curry looked so good that it was incredible. His most underestimated point is his physical fitness. Klay Thompson even said that he felt Stephen Curry's age had not changed since 2012. His off-ball movement is not achieved overnight. Stephen Curry has achieved what he is today through hard work over time.